Well, the weekend is coming to an end, but we do not end things here. So today we're just going to focus on two reviews for all of you. The first one is the latest ChocoPro event, number 487, featuring, of course, many matches. But the main event features Emi Sakura and Mei Shruga taking on women from, of course, Diana Himiko and Aruka Umesaki. So it's going to be a very, very fun match. And then finally, of course, we have New Japan with Hiroshi Tanahashi final homecoming. As you know, the clock is ticking for Hiroshi Tanahashi. As you all remember, he is set to retire on January 4th, 2026. And this, of course, event is in Gifu, which is his hometown. And this will be the final time that, of course, the people of Gifu get to see their hero, their ace, making his final appearance as a pro wrestler before his final match on January 4th. And he faces, of course, Yodosuji for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. So this is going to be a very historic match I think we'll never forget. And then finally, of course, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So let's begin, of course, with ChocoPro 487. Okay, ChocoPro number 487. This is their much recent show in Ichigaya Square, in case anybody asks. Now, as always, we have the general manager of ChocoPro, Aoi Kizuki, who, as you know, always does the opening show, greeting the fans, giving the lowdown info of the entire event's, matches. However, many of you may know this or not if you follow ChocoPro. Kizuki, of course, is not just the general manager. She also serves as the referee in the official ChocoPro matches in Ichigaya Square. We normally don't see a referee when she's like in the actual big shows. They have other people doing that. But when it comes to her doing the shows in Ichigaya Square, she does it. but she introduced a new referee, a secondary referee, who will be in fact, of course, helping her out. Normally, it like when if you guys ever know this, ChocoPro always have their own wrestlers step in as refs. I mean, I've seen Balinaki, Mei Shiruga, Chi, Tokiko, many people within the roster themselves, except for I think except for Mia, I'm not sure. Possibly Kaho and Hiroi, they're the Irikane. They haven't done that yet, but I think they're deciding, let them focus to be wrestlers rather than, because as you know, when the wrestlers are becoming refs, they have to change into a different type of clothing or just put the shirt on top. It takes a bit of time, but that's how it works. But anyway, that's pretty much what happened on the opening side of the entire show. Now let's begin with the first match. Our first match is, of course, a tag team match. We have Miyatsuba teaming up with Sayaka Obihiro, or as we know her or people like to call her Obi. They take on Tokiko Kiyahara and Balin Aki. Now, of course, you can see factors in this type of match. Now, when it comes to the individual wrestlers, Mia, as you know, hasn't picked up the biggest win just yet. We know she has picked up a good win here and there, but when it comes to getting the bigger win, that's going to be a different thing. Then you look as Obi; she's a very unorthodox wrestler. Not to mention her as a work as a chef during her off time when she's not wrestling. Then we've got Tokiko and Balinaki. As you know, they are both successful as well. I mean, Tokiko has some striking capabilities and submission capabilities. And then you have Balinaki, who has a bit of the aggressive side, who is determined to win at any cost. I mean, not in cheating wise, but more using his aggressive, violent side in order to do so. But you would have assumed in that capacity that Balinaki and Tokiko would have been the obvious choice to win. However, that wasn't the case. It was Mia who picked up the win on Tokiko when she applied the jackknife, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win. And that way, it was the most surprising thing ever to see. Now, our next match, we have Hiroi Yawada in singles action taking on, of course, Too Much Energy, Chi Koshikawa. Now, of course, Hiroi has a little bit of similarities with Chi. The only difference is she is way too much energy that you wouldn't expect. I mean, she is a bit more different than Mei Shiruga, as you probably can guess. But, however, of course, she has more of also a bit of the aggressive side that she'll do whatever it takes to pick up a win. And that's exactly what she would do. And then, of course, she was able to pick up the win when she applied the stretch muffler. And, of course, Hiroi had no choice but to tap out. Now, our main event, we have Mei Shiruga teaming up with her mentor and, of course, the boss of ChocoPro, Emi Sakura, taking on, of course, coming from Diana, Himeko, and, of course, Aruka Amasaki. Now, for those who don't know this, Aruka Amasaki was trained by Emi Sakura, and, of course, she's a very good friends with Mei Shiruga. And now it's interesting that she is on the opposite side, away from her friend and mentor. And this is going to be a huge challenge for her because she's not only facing people that she knows, she's facing people who she knows are that good. And that's something, of course, you have to understand. But the real question is, can she succeed? I mean, she could succeed. I'm not going to lie about that. But what's crazy is, how the capabilities of Mei Shiruga, she's the kind of person that, like, I don't give a damn. I'll just do it. I'll win however it takes. And Emi Sakura, well, she doesn't care about being a goody two-shoes. That's as far as we know. But in the end, it was, of course, a diving body press by Emi Sakura to Himeko, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, for our Jonkin tournament, we had a great time on this one. However, we had a surprise visit from somebody many of you may know, Yoshi Legend, who just retired this year, and we're talking about, of course, Passion! Yup, Nanae Takahashi made an appearance only for the Jonkin tournament, and I have to say it's great to see her. I had no idea that she was good friends with Emi Sakura, but it would make sense. I mean, their careers are almost similar in some ways, but it's great to see her. And in case anybody asks, yes, she won her part of the Jonkin tournament, but not the whole thing. The person actually won was, in fact, of course, Himeko. She actually won the tournament, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So that's pretty much what happened in ChocoPro, and I can't wait to see. However, we haven't seen yet the upload of number 485, which is the Cold Heroin, where they celebrate 30 years anniversary of Emi Sakura. So stay tuned for that until it's ready to be uploaded. But however, as of right now, let's move on with our last and final review, and that is, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, final review. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Hiroshi Tanahashi final homecoming, and this happened at the Gifu Memorial Center Gymnasium in Gifu. For those who don't know, this is his home, actually, his home triumph. And of course, I mentioned he is in the semi-main event facing off Yodatsuji for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. But we'll get to that. Now let's start in the beginning of the entire show. Now we have like majority in this match more of a six-man tag team match, and of course majority of them are young lions, and of course among them is former young lion and former never openweight champion Boltin Ole. We have team number one. We have Zane J, Masatora Yoshida, and Katsuya Murashima. They take on Tatsuya Matsumoto, Shoma Kato, and of course Boltin Ole. Now, of course, we all know how the Young Lions operate. As you know, for those who don't follow New Japan that much, the Young Lions, their primary job is that they have to use limited moves in their matches, meaning they only have one submission move they can use, and that move is the Boston Crab, which of course they have to learn how to master it. And of course, Boltin Ole, a former Young Lion, knows exactly what that means. I mean, he has been a very fantastic young lion. He showed exactly what he's capable, not to mention a former never openweight champion. But it was him who picked up the win onto Zane J, instead of applying a Boston Crab, which normally the veteran wrestlers or the much experienced wrestlers show the young lions, this is how you do it, and I'm going to try it on you. Well, he applied, like, I'm not sure if it was an F5, but it looked like an F5 on Zane J, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we had an interesting six-man tag. We have Daiki Nagai, Geto, and Hiromu Takahashi taking on TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Kosa Fujita, and of course Robbie Eagles. Basically, as you probably can guess, Robbie Eagles and Kosa Fujita are probably bummed out that they didn't make it all the way to the finals. I mean, they probably would have loved to have two back-to-backs of the Super Junior Tag League, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But of course, Daiki Nagai, as you all know, young lions, there are times they like to show no fear, even though they're not supposed to. They can show a bit of fear, but they refuse to let it take over it. And he stood toe-to-toe against Hartley Jackson until, of course, Hartley Jackson applied the jagged edge on him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, TMDK picked up the win. Now, our next match, we had an interesting 8-man tag team match involving the competitors in the Super Junior Tag League. Team number one, we have Yuki Yoshioka, Kushida, and of course, they team up with Funky Carrot, consistent of Dragon Dia and Ryosuke Taguchi. They take on, of course, Yamato and Tiger Mask, Kukai, and El Desperado. So basically, you can tell this is more like an all-star 8-man junior heavyweight tag team match. I mean, it looks more like an exhibition. I mean, I would have been a lot happier to see just four teams in a four-way, but probably that's just way too much, of course. But in the end, it was Taguchi that surprised everyone, because Tiger Mask seen he had this match won, but unfortunately Taguchi reversed it and pinned him just like that. 1, 2, 3, it's over. Now, our next match, we have, of course, the House of Losers, as always. Dick Togo, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Yujiro Takahashi, Ren Narita, and Evil taking on Toru Yano, Yo, Master Wato, Yuyu Uemura, and Shota Umino. Now, of course, when it comes to the House of Losers, of course, you all know these bastards think they're tough because they cheat. That's exactly what they normally do. They're not tough. They're just a bunch of petty thugs that like to cheat because they think they're tough. No, they run to the hills and they play by their own rules. They don't want to defend championships. And of course, this ended with, of course, Yo being the victim in the hands of the whiskey belt, then the whiskey missed by Kanemaru, and then a whack in the head on him with the Never Openweight Championship onto him by that scumbag Ren Narita. And then just like that, Dick Togo picked up the win. However, of course, Evil, as you know, he is determined to get get the belts that belong to them, like the Never Openweight six-man tag team. He just tells Yo, Wado, and Yano that those belts were never meant to be for them. And of course, Evil, with his usual ways, well, he got thrown out by Aaron Wolf. And of course, I'm sure Evil is not happy, the fact, But the thing is, I think people are starting to the Evil is starting to have fear in his eyes, knowing that he could lose in one way. But we all know Evil will have, of course, the House of Losers by his side. But we'll see what happens. Now, of course, we may not know when will these Never Openweight six-man tag team titles will be defended. But it could happen maybe because as we speak, we will begin the start of World Tag League, which is the tag team round robin tournament involving heavyweight competitors. So stay tuned for that. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, Jacob Austin Young, Templario, Cal Newman, and Great Khan, who we haven't seen after losing to Tanahashi. Now he makes his return. They face off with the very interesting combination of Shingo Takagi and teaming up with the War Dogs, Clark Connors, and the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Yuto Ice and Oscar. So it was a very interesting match, and I have to say these guys did get along great. I mean, there was no problems, no miscommunication. But to me, I felt this configuration was more of a powerhouse dynamic. I mean, Clark Connors, despite the fact that he is a junior heavyweight, but he does have the powerhouse dynamic in the junior heavyweight status, which is something that Ultimo Dragon has been trying to teach junior heavyweight competitors to do, despite of their size. And of course, but the one thing was interesting is Cal Newman was in fact throwing a bit of an aggressive side to him, attacking at any way possible. But however, this match ended with, of course, who was it? By Yuto Ice when he applied the True Weather onto Jacob Austin Young, and just like that, is over. However, of course, Cal Newman was not going to let this slide, so everybody in the United Empire attacked Shingo and War Dogs, but of course, Shingo and the War Dogs were not going to let this crap slide one way or the other. It looks more like Cal Newman has a huge chip on his shoulder. We just don't know why. But here's an interesting part that happened in the post-match comments. Shingo Takagi wants to enter the World Tag League, but the real question is who will be his partner. And here's the interesting part. He announced his tag partner, and it's someone who, in fact, he faced before, and he showed a lot of great respect for, and that is, of course, what's his name? Maloney, yeah. So I'm like, Drilla Maloney is in fact going to be his tag partner. We haven't heard anything from him. I don't know what he'll make of it, but I'm sure this is something he will love to do. Now, our next match, well, this is the finals of the Super Junior Tag League. As you know, we have the War Dogs, Robbie X and Taiji Shimori taking on the other members of the House of Losers, our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I'm referring to Sho and Doiki. And don't forget, guys, Doiki is the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Now, of course, when it comes to these idiots, they will do whatever it takes to win by cheating their way through. That's exactly what we were seeing. Of course, there was a great moment where Ishimori was not falling to that trick. If you guys seen, Sho waits until the wrestler's head pops out of the ring and through the ring ropes, and he whacks him with a little plate. But however, Taiji's like, hell no, bitch. He knew it was coming, but it backfired. And he used it on him. And then Doiki tried to pin him, but no. And then, of course, out of nowhere, Doiki spit red mist onto onto who was it? Onto Ishimori, and then of course a low blow, then the schoolboy. Just like that, they become the winners of this year's. Now, for those who probably ask yourselves, if they are the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, who will challenge them? Well, they have to nominate it. But here's the thing about these guys that many people should understand: the House of Losers, whenever they have championships, they are the kind of people that say, I'm not defending this title because I'm playing by my own rules. But the rule is they have to defend them. It's the IWGP committee that makes those rules. But Evil and the rest of those losers, they're trying to claim that nope, hell no, we're the ones who call the shots. But sooner or later, but we did learn that Kosa Fujita said that they're stepping up. But of course, Tweedledee and Tweedledum were not going to happen. But of course, Kosa Fujita was not going to take that kindly. So sooner or later, they have to defend them. Now, our next match is the semi-main event. We have, of course, the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship defended. We have the Ace, Tanahashi, facing against Yoro Tsuji. And I have to say, this match was incredible. I mean, look, let's remember, Tanahashi's body, his health, it's not how it used to be. I mean, come on, he is getting old. His knees are shot up. He can't do the much things that he can do when he's running. He does however he can as possible. But he put up a hell of a fight. He even applied multiple high five flows, but it never worked to finish off Tsuji until he applied the Gene Blaster. And just like that, it was completely over. So out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3, done. And then, of course, Tsuji told them that he will love to continue where he left off, elevate New Japan Pro Wrestling while he enjoys his retirement. But however, while Tsuji allowed Tanahashi to have his final moments, well, he was surprised, interrupted by none other than, of course, Yuto Ice. And it seems that Yuto Ice wants to have a match against him before he goes. So who knows when that happened? Because as I mentioned this before, of course, we are stepping into Tag League soon. So we'll just have to wait and see when that will happen. Now, our main event is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. We have, of course, Hiroki Goto, the former champion, taking on Konosuke Takeshita, our current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And this is one of those matches where, if you guys remember, when Takeshita was making his appearance in New Japan for the first time, Goto felt like he could have been a member of Chaos if that was the case. But, of course, it wasn't. But, of course, Goto had to put everything on the line against him, knowing too well that he has to regain this belt. But Tanahashi, well, he did exactly what he did. He was going to put everything he had against him. Every strength, every power. And that's exactly what he did when he applied the Raging Fire. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the championship. And of course, he did a post-match promo. He even thanked Goto for an amazing match that he had with him. But of course, he called out whoever's willing to step up against him, because he knows perfectly well that when we enter Tag League, he will not be participating. He doesn't have a tag team partner that he will be involved, but we'll see that. But he is asking for an opponent that will happen at Wrestle Kingdom, which is on January 4th. And of course, the person who stepped up is our current IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion, Yoro Tsuji. So he stepped up. But of course, Takeshita said this to him, saying, why not put that title on the line and make it a winner takes all? And that I'm sure people will love to see. So it hasn't been made official, but if it is, it's going to be an epic battle. So we'll see what happens until then. But as I said, we are now in, I believe this could be the last show before we start World Tag League. So stay tuned more for this. But as of right now, let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So just to let you guys know, this is going to be a bit of a short one because, of course, there are no developments to update all of you in. So we only got upcoming events. Now, as you know, we have the West Coast Pro event featuring, of course, Prestige Wrestling called Strength Beyond Strength on the 7th of November. They just announced that the West Coast Pro World title will be defended, and I was unaware of what happened. I know there was a recent event that happened. I haven't reviewed it yet. We had Vinny Massari will defend his belt against Isaiah Broner, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we have the Chicago event by House of Glory on the 21st of November. Mustafa Ali will be in action to take on Marcus Mathers. So that's going to be a fun match. And then finally, of course, Wrestling Revolver will have their final show of the year, final season finale that normally happens in December, and it's going to happen on the 18th of December. They announced Desmond Wentz, formerly known as Wesley, will be making his appearance. Now, it's still unclear what Wesley's going to go. I'm sure many people would have presumed he'll be heading back to TNA when he was released from WWE. We don't know yet. We haven't heard anything from him yet. What are his plans? But we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, I think that's pretty much it what we have. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I want to make this special announcement right here and now. I may consider doing a review episode. The reason is behind that is because by the time we had Tuesday, the reason is this, that I gotta work early in the morning, very early, and it's not a very pleasant thing. So I'm trying to minimize everything so I can have enough sleep. I haven't decided yet. I do know there is a Stardom event, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So wish me luck, guys. If not, then if I'm unable to see that, then I might consider watching the West Coast Pro event. I'm not sure. If I do have enough time, I may put in, of course, MLW. But we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.